everyone? Welcome back again. This is Derek. Justin unfortunately couldn't make it today. He had some work issues. But Joseph is here. He's going to be here as a regular also. So how's it going, Joseph?
It's going pretty good, man. Thanks for asking. Yeah, it sucks Justin can't be here, but we'll make the best of it. You're stuck with me now.
Yeah, as they say, I guess.
Second tier. It's fine, man. I came off the bench today. Now I'm starting. I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach. Exactly.
So what's been up? What's up?
Not much, man. So I had a question for you, man. I saw this on some forums the other day, or maybe I saw it on Reddit. There was somebody who posted a picture of Evil Morty, right after the Rick Lantis episode, right, where I think Rick, the Evil Morty spoilers, right? Who people who haven't seen it, but Evil Morty comes out and he runs for presidency, or I guess kind of like or something equivalent of presidency.
Yeah,
There's some people on the forum that asked that they wanted an origin story. Would you want an origin story on Evil Morty?
yeah. I would definitely like to see like them explore that character more and show like how he came about because it's pretty interesting. How could a Morty be able to control a Rick? Like, how is he able to alter that Rick that they showed that he was controlling? He was a cyborg or whatever. Like, how did he was he able to make this? Being that Rick is the genius, and Morty is the dumb one that bounces out his smart brave brain waves. So so yeah, I definitely
So
see.
so that made sense, right? Sometimes, man, I forget how freaking smart the show is, right? Like I'm a dummy. I don't understand a lot of things, man. But like I think that's how smart the show is. Is that there and Rick understands it, Morty understands it. There's so many different parallel universes
Yeah,
that in one of the universes, Morty is the genius of the universe.
yeah,
And so whenever we kind of find that out from that first episode, I think it was like in season one, and then fast forward to like season three, and that happens in that episode, you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And like, and who was the Rick who came out and says, hey man, because remember his campaign manager was at the bar, and who was that Rick that came up was just like, hey man, maybe you don't know everything, and like slides him the
yeah,
photos and lets him know like who was that Rick, like how did that Rick know? So it's just like, is Rick behind the entire thing? Is he really the one who's the mastermind, who's masterminding everything that's what's happening? And then I was thinking, like, in season, when season 4 came out, I was like, okay, they're going to talk about it, somebody's going to have to say something. But and then I started thinking about it, I was like, wait a minute, I was like, they almost didn't find out what happened in season 1, right? And I think that because he got caught the first time, he's like, I have to be more subtle. So now at this and I forgot the name of it, where's the place where all the Ricks?
um, I can't even remember. I know that the people in charge were the Council of Ricks.
Yeah, so the Council of Ricks, right? And then that place wherever they were at, like, maybe he learned his lesson in the first one, right? He got intertwined with all the Mortys, knew that he had to kind of like build his way up, and then eventually kind of like still do shit and mastermind behind everything without interrupting the scope of the universe, right? And I don't think that they know that that's going on. But I don't know. I don't know where where Harmon is going to take it. I think it's Dan Harmon, right? One of the creators and writers. Like, I don't know where he's going to take it, and if he's even going to acknowledge it. Because at this point, like, I don't know if you necessarily want to. Rick and Morty doesn't have episodes that follow each other, right? And I
Yeah,
think that's kind of the purpose of the show. Yeah, there's some Easter eggs and some things that they talk about, but I don't know if it's like one of those shows where it's like, well, we just won't touch it. It's up to your
yeah,
own imagination to decide what you believe is going to happen. But there's some people who are like, man, I would love an origin story. But there were some people along there that were like, man, I don't want an origin story. Like, nope, we got enough. We're happy with where it's at. Like, if he comes back to it, great. If he doesn't, but I'm like, man, I would love an origin story. I
yeah,
would, I would love to see that different parallel universe instead of C-137's world, right? Like, I want to see like that particular world and see like kind of where that would go. So I didn't know if you would, you wanted an origin story, or maybe if you didn't get an origin story, would you want a continuation from that story?
yeah. I would like to see them expand on Evil Morty to see where it goes. I think that'd be interesting.
Are there are there any other things from Rick and Morty that you would like to see? One of my favorite things, because I think you and I were discussing before we started this, is like they there's so many Easter eggs,
Oh yeah,
so many great. Like if there were so many times after watching it, 2 or 3 times, like the amount of times like Mr. Meeseeks shows up,
yeah,
just in the background helping other characters, or just like if you pay attention to like sometimes you just pay attention to Rick and Morty, but there are so many different things going on in the back where you're just all like, what the hell is happening right now? Like who's that character? It's like I've seen him before, or you've seen like a variation of him or something like
yeah.
that. So
Like Bird Person, they did a complete story arc for him. Like they introduced him. He
yeah.
met me. They got married. She turned out to be a fucking spy.
Oh,
Or
that episode, man.
the orc was in space or whatever. And then he ends up getting killed, and then they bring him back like Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He's Phoenix Person, and having to kill Phoenix Person. I think it was Clone Beth that killed him, wasn't it?
Yep. It was the very last episode. Yeah, it was the very last episode of season
And then
4.
he's on the back of the wall inside the garage now, but he's still alive.
Yeah.
They could still bring him back and do another. Have some more Phoenix Person.
Yeah, and it was touching. Like I hate to be mushy about the episode, but the episode where like he first dies, right? Like Rick, you could see the anguish in Rick, right? Like he hates everybody, doesn't like anybody, doesn't acknowledge anybody. He's just like, oh, that's a person I know or whatever. And then it's just like when he's giving his speech, he's like, yeah, you're my best friend. And then when he killed him, like you just see him like yelling. He's like, no, right? And all this shit starts happening. You just tell like he's just like, oh well, fuck, man, I'm wanted now. I got to get out of here. Like I'm out. So. Um, but man, it's a great show. For people out there, if you haven't watched it, I know not everybody's a fan. Like I get it, right? Some of the jokes are crude, but a lot of people weren't fan of South Park, right? And a lot of
Yeah,
people weren't fan of The Simpsons, and I think that they're kind of a combination of them. But just I like their approach. It's not a continuous story of like somebody's daily life. I mean, it kind of is, but like routine life. Because they
yeah,
can do whatever. That's the cool thing about it. They literally can do whatever, man.
yeah.
So I think that's the infinite scope of the show and why it's very
I
successful.
think it's only limited by the the number of ideas that the creators and the writers can come up with. Because they're not handcuffed to anything. They're not handcuffed to reality. They're not handcuffed to like one universe or one planet or anything. They can literally go anywhere, do anything within like just their imagination. So they
Yeah,
could. This show could go on forever theoretically.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got 20 plus seasons or 17 or whatever, like whatever the number of the seasons that The Simpsons and like South Park are on, and like they could just do that, right? It's up to the creativity and the time and effort that he wants to put into it to continue it. So, would you continue watching if he was just like, you know what, I'm giving up the writing, I'm letting somebody else do it, like I don't want to do the show anymore? Like, would you still watch?
I'd probably watch to see how it is, and if it like turned to shit, I'd probably stop watching.
I mean, fair enough. Do you
Like,
have a
if Turner and Stone stopped doing South Park, I probably would never watch another South Park again because they are the show. Like that show
yeah?
is completely them.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I guess that makes a good point. Like if, yeah, no, you're no, well, I can't, I don't have a comment. Like I can't say anything. Like I'm trying to think of maybe some other stuff like that I watch currently that, or I've seen in the past that if the person like if the director or the creators were just like, I don't want any kind of creative business a part of it, like I'm letting somebody else do it, then I don't know if I would watch it. But I mean, at the same time, like if we're going to music, there's a bunch of music out there, right, that is written by so many different people that I'm like, I love the song, but shit, you look at the writing, like the writing of as to or the the credits that they give for people who wrote it, and it's just like 10 different people. So
Yeah.
maybe it's like that still. I don't know. I'm being a little naive and hoping that these guys have a lot of say, which I think they do. Like Trey and Matt, right? I think those two guys like have a lot of say in the show
Oh yeah.
still.
If you watch that special that was out a few years ago, that 6 Days to Air,
Mm-hmm.
that shows them from like the idea of the show,
Oh yeah.
and then the concept, and then like the writing and then the drawing, and then they did all that during a blackout as well, and they still got the show off in 1 week. I think
Yeah.
it's the deadline by a couple hours or something like that. I can't remember. I haven't watched it in a while, but then I think them dudes they probably give them full control of whatever they want to do on that show. Like no one's Comedy Central's not going to tell them no, you can't do that. Like
I mean, let's be honest. What other shows are people watching on Comedy Central? Like, not shitting on Comedy Central, but like, like South Park made them. I mean, yeah, they had some comedy specials where people that would come up and they would talk, and yeah, there've been some pretty good like shows that aired
Reno
exclusively.
911 started on there.
Yeah, and that's a great show. That's
Yeah,
great. I like it. I enjoyed it a lot, man. I went back and started. I went back and rewatched it now that it's on HBO Max, and fuck,
yeah.
it is hilarious, man.
And Chappelle Show. I mean, I think
Oh my god, yeah.
yeah.
I forgot about the Chappelle Show. That's another one. You and I quote that all the time, man. We anytime we get together, it's so
Watch
it's
Chappelle Show religiously, and
oh
like
man,
I don't care. I would watch it.
yeah. You know, I heard he was doing an interview recently, and he was talking about like how the people who's in charge of Viacom, or you know, the people who own like Comedy Central, which I think it's Viacom, right? Like they own like a bunch of different channels, and
Yeah,
how like whenever he requested them to remove his shows from Netflix and from HBO,
yeah,
that because he was just like I'm politely asking them, right? I work with them because I've been paid, I haven't paid a single cent for the episode since they were re-airing and stuff,
yeah,
and so they came out and they paid him money, man, which is like when has it like happened? It hasn't, where somebody can just go to their creative their boss and be like, look, man, I need to get paid for this shit. Like I did this, like I need to get paid, and they paid him. So it was a cool little interview. I recommend checking it out. But he was talking about that. But yeah, deviating a little bit from Comedy Central here. But yeah, man, like Comedy Central, they had Reno 911, which is a good show. But like, how many people know that on Wednesdays at like 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock Eastern, Central time, that's when South Park's going to show.
yeah,
Like everybody, like a lot of people who were fans of the show knew that on Wednesdays that was going to air. But
yeah,
Reno 911, I don't know when it was going to air. you
yeah,
know?
yeah. Probably the only other show on there that like I knew what time it came on and what day was Tosh Point oh.
Oh yeah, Tosh Final. Man, is he still having episodes? Is this show still on air?
I think they like canceled the rest of the like. I don't think he's got any more episodes coming out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not too sure on that but yeah, man, that was another great show. But I think what happened, man, unfortunately, I think that with that ridiculousness, like took over it.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if you've ever seen Ridiculousness, but
yeah.
it's
I watched that.
like it's funny and they have great episodes and videos, but I think that having that comedic presence and sometimes is because he's so witty, man, he's a comedian, that's what he does for a living, so for him to be able to offer like some commentary on some of the videos is
Yeah,
fantastic, which Rob does a good job. I think that he does a good job on some of it, but sometimes and he gets celebrities to come by, and I think that's what kind of helps him too. But it's just not the same without like or it's not the same as Tasha. So
yeah,
and like whenever he would like try to redeem some characters sometimes, like if they were if they had like if they were famous for doing something stupid, he would put them on the show to try to redeem them, and it would just make a huge like funny skit out of it.
yeah. I think they did that with that Boom Goes the Dynamite guy.
Yeah, they did him, the chocolate rain guy.
Oh yeah, chocolate.
The lady who was smashing on the grapes in the like she was smashing grapes or like stepping on grapes for wine, and she fell down and busted her face and was just like crying on air and stuff. And so like they so he got to do he invited a bunch of people back, man, which was awesome. uh but yeah, man, Comedy Central, they just like going back a little bit, man, like South Park was that show, and it still is that show for me, so
Yeah, I'm excited for the next season of Rick and Morty. I think it comes out in like 3 more weeks.
it does, man. It does. You know what else comes out this month? There's a lot of stuff that's coming out this month. But you know what else comes out next week in this month? Loki.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Big time excited for that.
Who would have known, right? And I know people talk about this all the time, but like who would have known that like these A-list celebrities, right? Or these A-list, or these celebrities that were in A-list big budget films would go on to do television shows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of different than like doing network television because they're not really doing network television. It's more on par with like an HBO show. Like it's not something you'll see on regular TV.
I guess you make a good point there,
And it's
because
not like it's not like a show where like it's mostly paid for by the advertising that goes on during the show. Like a lot of the shows, if it wasn't for the commercials, they probably wouldn't be around.
hmm
But like shows like this and like stuff on HBO, it doesn't rely on the commercials. It relies on the subscription or people paying extra to get that programming.
Oh, I guess you're right, and I guess a lot of that goes straight to the funding of, to fund it, right, and help
Yeah,
with it
yeah,
amongst other things that they get, other ways that they get their revenue.
yeah,
But that makes sense. I guess it puts it on par in some of like the greatest television shows that have been on TV, right? Like,
yeah,
like if you make a list, right, or most of the lists that I've ever kind of heard, and maybe it's changed over the past 5 to 10 years, but like if you could rank the best 10 shows ever to be on television, what are usually number one or two, right? Or what's usually, yeah, what if it's not number one, it's number two. The
yeah,
Sopranos.
yeah.
Like The Sopranos, like people love the show. Like
Oh
it's
yeah.
usually when it comes to like all rankings in the television shows, like The Sopranos is always up there. That wasn't on a network television show.
I don't know. You weren't gonna see that on regular TV.
Like everything that was happening.
Like some of the HBO shows go to like, not. I guess it's network TV, but it's not like your standard stations. Like Sex and the City is on like E Entertainment or something like that, one of those channels.
Yeah,
So
like
like
you
some
can.
shows like that have moved, but I don't think you ever see a show like Sopranos or Game of Thrones or even like The Wire or anything like that. I don't think you'll see those get passed down to another like lesser channel.
No, no, and you're absolutely right on that. And with saying that, I think that you made a good point at the beginning of this conversation by saying like by putting Loki on something like Disney Plus is the equivalent of like HBO,
Yeah,
right? Obviously, it's completely different
yeah,
in the content that it
categorially.
exactly. It's different from that perspective, but also being able to like have some creative freedom, right? Being able to, be like, hey guys, here's a bunch of money. Do what you want. Just stay within this budget if you can. And if they need more money, they can go back to Disney and be like, hey man, we need more money. And Disney's like, here you go, have whatever you want, right?
Yeah,
And so that's a cool thing. And again, like I know we talked about like we haven't really talked about too much on this podcast, but like Mandalorian, right? Like it came out and it was so good, and it had A-list directors, man. That was the thing that I was like I loved was it had A-list directors, A-list writers, it had great cast, it was amazing, right? I still haven't watched WandaVision or was it Falcon and the Winter Soldier,
yeah,
their show yet. That's on the list, man. I gotta watch it so we can talk about it, sometime
yeah.
on
You're
here. But
missing out with Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier.
you say that again?
You're missing out not seeing that yet.
Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. I heard it's so good. But again, who would have visualized that 30 to 40 years ago that our favorite comic book characters that are on a piece of paper were going to
Yeah,
come into real life, man.
yeah,
Like when Spider-Man came out, come on, man. Like the first Spider-Man came out, you're like, this is a Marvel film? Like what's happening? That's cool. It was awesome.
yeah. And I was a big Spider-Man fan growing up. So being able to watch Spider-Man, I was I was ecstatic. And I think the newest ones are probably far more superior than the previous two. Like I love Tom Holland as Peter Parker. He kills it. I think to me.
No, no, and I think I love Tom Holland. I think he's great. I do really like Tobey Maguire. I think that the first and second Spider Mans were amazing. We're not gonna talk about the third
Sure.
one. We're not gonna talk about the third one. We're not gonna talk about the third one. We're just gonna leave that out. Even though I've read some articles about the fourth Spider Man film, or if it wasn't the fourth Spider Man
There's
film,
supposed to be a fourth one that Sam Raimi was supposed to do.
right? Like there was one that he was supposed to do, and his creative direction, like some of the characters that were in three weren't supposed to be in three; they were supposed to be in four,
Yeah,
and it was supposed to kind of continue, and he was supposed to clean up a bunch of stuff, but because of budgets, because he was pressed, he kind of had to combine Spider-Man 3 and Spider-Man 4 a little bit together.
yeah,
Not as much as like not because he not what he wanted to, but just like there's a huge like controversy and things that kind of happened after that third one was, but yeah, that third one was bad. But I like Tobey Maguire, but from Tom Holland, man, he's great. Like he has a very youthful face. I think Tobey Maguire, like he just looks a little older. I think that his he's not as fun and upbeat as maybe like as like Tom Holland, but yeah, it's different. But yeah, I do like him. But when he first came out, like for example, like I remember I heard a discussion one time, and we're going to DC here a little bit, but when Batman, right, the very first like Batman that ever came out,
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton, when that one came out, like people were like, "Whoa!" Like, of course, you had Adam West, right? You had Adam West, which is cool, and it was funny, and it was like, it was a different type of film. And then Batman came out, and you were like, "Oh man, this is open up a can of worms," right?
Yeah.
And then, like, of course, the subsequent Batmans, but it was just, there was really no big budget like films like that from a Marvel perspective. And I remember watching like this old. I know you've seen it. I know you've seen the Captain America like film. There was a Captain America film. I remember watching it as a kid.
An old Avengers film, actually.
You
And it
said
had
that what?
Hulk in it. There was an older Avengers movie.
Oh, there was.
Yeah.
Oh, so that I never saw, but I remember there was
Let me see if I can find it.
a Captain America one, and I remember it was as a kid I was like, this is cool. I get to see Captain America in it. But I remember it. I remember now that I'm like older, I'm like, I just remember it being so bad.
Oh yeah.
But it was like kind of one of those, like, it seemed like it was almost like an independent film that somebody made on the side, and they were like, hey, we're gonna do this, right? And just kind of like, and it just, I just remember it just being so bad. It wasn't as, all of a sudden you get like, was it Chris Evans to come in and be Captain America, and it was awesome. It was so cool. And then whenever you had, but in the first one, if I can remember, I think the Red Skull was in it, and like you kind of fight him, and I remember you like, I think they even show, I don't know if they show a sex scene, if there is a sex scene in it, but I just remember him. He's like in the woods and he's like taking off his clothes or something. It was weird, man. I don't, maybe I watched like a porn Captain America film or something. I don't know, man, that I should have or something. I don't know. I just remember it was like, it wasn't really good and the production wasn't that great, but I did remember watching a Captain America film.
What other? There was also Spawn. That was one of the original comic book movies.
Oh man, that Spawn was great. Spawn was great, man. I don't know. I've heard there've been talks. I don't know if
Jamie Foxx is going to be Spawn.
was that, is that confirmed? I don't know if that was
Oh,
confirmed.
that's just what I've heard.
Yeah, so like he would be a great Spawn. I think that Michael Jai White, who played like the first Spawn, he was great. John Leguizamo was great, right?
Yeah.
Going back and watching it now, right? The CGI is terrible. It's so bad in that film, but Spawn was a kick-ass movie, man. Like
And
that.
Blade is another superhero movie.
I
That's coming
rewatched.
back with what's the actor's name? He was in the third season of True Detective on HBO. He was
Oh,
in,
you're talking about again, I'm gonna butcher his name, Marshala Ali.
yeah.
Yes,
He's gonna be Blade.
he's gonna be awesome. No, I just recently rewatched Blade, the first Blade movie.
Yeah.
It's so good, Derek.
Oh yeah, I love all three of them were good actually. I think.
Yeah, well, again, if you go to like, one of the review websites or something, like, it has really good reviews. Like, I don't think any of the films got like really bad reviews, but that first one was awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I just rewatching it, man. Like, the fight scenes were awesome, man. Like, it was just so cool to watch, like him with that fucking sword chopping
Yeah.
people up and shit,
Yeah.
and just like, you hear his origin story, man. He was man, cold blooded, just cool cat, man, just fucking people up with a samurai sword.
Well, how many comic book movies are coming out like in the next year or two? Like if you look at upcoming movies, I mean it's Venom 2, The Eternals, Suicide Squad, the second one, Black Widow, Spider-Man No Way Home, um, Shang-Chi,
Yeah, so Hawkeye, he has a
the
series.
Batman, Morbius, which is I'm excited for Morbius. Have you seen the trailer?
Oh man, Jared Leto.
Thor: Love and Thunder, which they wrapped from what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there another one coming too?
So Hawkeye, he gets a series. And then I think that's phase 4. That's all or Black Widow. Don't forget Black Widow.
Yeah.
I don't know if you said Black Widow, right? But like all the films are like phase 4. Then phase 5, you have like She-Hulk.
Yeah.
That's supposed to come out. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
And then you have the Marvels. That's supposed to come out. And then you have
that's the sequel to Captain Marvel.
Yep.
They changed from Captain Marvel 2 or whatever it was going to be called to
to the Marvels. You have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Fantastic Four. They're gonna bring that back again.
Well, I mean, with Marvel Studios doing it, I think it'll be a lot better.
Wait, is Marvel Studios doing it?
Yeah, because they got all the rights when they bought Fox.
Oh, okay. I keep being confused. I remember I kept
They
hearing
own
different stories.
they own all the event or the uh
All the old Sony like.
X-Men. They own all the X-Men. No, Sony still retains it. Sony still has full rights of Spider-Man.
I'll never forget. There was like.
But after this No Way Home
Hmm.
and Venom 2, that Sony's going to work on their own like Spider-Verse with,
I
and
did
bring
see
Venom
that.
into their
Oh,
Spider-Verse.
could you imagine Tom Holland? What is it? Woody Harrelson as Carnage. Um, was it Tom Hardy, right? Venom, like all on the same screen together, and then Morbius as well. Like just
Yeah.
like, oh man, mind blown. Which
Sinister Six. I remember a few years ago, there was talk about a Sinister Six movie, and then it just like kind of disappeared. But
I
I,
think we're getting close. We're
I would
getting close.
Sinister Six movie.
We're getting close, man. It's gonna come out, man. Because again, I remember watching like Spider-Man the animated series, right? Like he was fighting like different major characters every single episode in
Yeah,
New York City, right?
yeah.
Like these people are there, and which kind of backtracking here a little bit, Spider-Man Far From Home. Did you like Jake Gyllenhaal as
Mysterio.
Miss? Yeah,
Yeah, I think he did a good job. I
or
thought,
did you
like,
like the concept of like the drones and everything?
yeah, I mean, it makes it more like believable than if it was like like if they stayed true to the exact comics. Like it makes it more believable that you could do all this stuff with a bunch of drones and projecting all this stuff
Yeah,
and timed explosions and all that stuff.
yeah, I did like that too. I like they were trying to make it more modern. I would have liked to see like maybe some magical elements of it, just a
Yeah,
little bit more. But I understand why they did it, because then it's like, how the hell would Spider-Man defeat him without like other existing characters, or like how would he do it, right? Like it would, there's a lot of that, but I like the modern aspect of it. Um, now that he's potentially been exposed as Spider-Man, is he like, I like to see where the direction they go with that,
yeah.
right? Like, is he, is it, oh, cool, it's Spider-Man, we know it's Peter Parker, what's up, man, how's it going? Will they start, serving him court papers to pay for structural damage that he does to
City.
Yeah, it's like, hey, man, you owe us $1 billion because you messed up the city by swinging. You saved us, we appreciate it, but we need you to pay us now. So,
Hopefully, the Stark Foundation pays for it.
hey, right? So it's a cool. It's going to be interesting to see like who would be the next villains in the next one.
Yeah.
Because you have to come up with some heavy
And what
hitters,
the
man.
actual story is going to be, because I mean, there's been all kinds of rumors about the multiverse and the other two, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, being part of this movie.
Oh, that's right.
But Andrew Garfield has said multiple times he's not, and no one's contacted him about him being
Yeah,
a Spider-Man character. So,
yeah, it's because he did so great as Spider-Man.
I mean, I didn't really. The first one I thought was decent. The second one, I think it kind of fell in that trap of what the original Spider-Man 3 fell into. Like
Ooh.
the characters became corny. Like Jamie
Yeah,
Electro,
he looked cool.
yeah,
He looked cool, but that was about it,
yeah.
right?
So I think it just kind of fell in that trap. But yeah, he said that he's not involved in this. So, and Tom Holland's actually done a good job out not leaking anything this time. And they've got two, so there should be a trailer for that coming pretty soon.
So you want to hear a funny story, man? I'll never forget. I was what was it? I was at a con one time, and he was being interviewed by like a local, radio disc jockey at this like amphitheater or something. And he was like sitting there giving so they were sitting there, and he was like asking questions and stuff. And one kid came up and was like, "Hey, man, can I come sit next to you?" And he was just like, "Yeah." So he like got this kid to come up and sit down next to him, and then like the kid eventually started interviewing Tom Holland. And then he was just all like, "Hey, man, are you here by yourself?" He's like, "No, my brother's he's in the stand." So he brought his brother up on stage as well. And so like he was like sitting there. He's just like, "Hey, do you mind if I like FaceTime my friend? She doesn't believe that I'm sitting right next to you." He's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And so he's sitting there, he's just like, "What's up?" And you can hear her on the mic, right? Like somebody has a mic next to the phone, and she's all like, "What are you doing?" He's just like, "Oh, I'm at this convention." And he's just like, "I'm here with Tom Holland." She's like, "No, no, no." And he like turns the phone, and Tom Holland starts waving at her, and she is screaming bloody murder. And she's like, "Oh my God, what is going on right now, man?" But he was super cool. He was super nice to like the kids and like to the kid that was there up on stage and stuff, man. It was a really cool experience to see him like interact with fans, man. Like
Yeah,
I never saw him like be rude to anybody or anything like that. And like you can you could have taken photos with him like afterwards. And like he was, again, I know they're putting on a show, man. Like he's busy schedule, but for him to like still like be personable and funny and like that, every time the lady was asking him questions, he wasn't even like paying attention to her. Like she was like not being rude, like he wasn't being rude at all, like he was just like he was so involved with the fans, man, that like it went from like being interviewed about stuff to like he was just engaging with the fans the entire time, man, which was super cool to see, man. So it's just like,
yeah,
oh, cool, this kid's a superstar, and he's still like being super humble. And this was right before Infinity War, so that was really cool too, because like he was just like, I can't say anything, I can't say anything. I've been told like,
yeah.
shut up, don't say nothing and stuff. So it was funny, like he still acknowledged the joke, right?
What are some of the other movies you're excited for that's coming out soon?
I would say I'm well, I would say I'm excited for it, but I'm really want to see where they go with the Wakanda Forever film, the Black Panther film without Chadwick Boseman, man.
Yeah,
I think that the first film was awesome. It was great. I don't know if it lived up to what people say it is. Like a lot of people give it, they rate it really, really high. I rate it high. I just don't, within the fall with the Marvel films, I don't know if it's as high as I would like to rate it as some people that I know. But I want to see the direction they go with his, obviously with his passing, and which direction they're going to go with that,
yeah.
right? Like obviously they say they're not going to replace him, right? But it's just like if they don't replace him, who's gonna replace him? Like is just Black Panther just gonna be just kind of voided out now? Like is
It
he
would
gonna
be
go away?
Fury. His sister will become Black Panther.
Which would be great, man. That would be so cool to kind of see, right? To have like a female character to play Black Panther, but like I don't think his character needs to go away. Like yes, Chadwick Boseman, like I know they don't want to like recast him or recast somebody else as not recast him, but recast somebody else as Black Panther from Chadwick Boseman, but like who are you going to like replace him with? Like you
And
can't
that's
just
it.
exclude Black Panther. Like he was such a like inspirational figure for so many people. Like you can't just be like, all right, cool, this is the end of the movie. Like we're not gonna make a third one. He's
Yeah,
out of the Avengers. Like that's it. So
unless there's a way to CGI him like they did for Princess Leia in Star Wars and
oh, that's right.
um, Admiral Tarkin and Rogue One.
Oh yeah. And
I guess they could try and do it that way. It'd be good.
Tupac at Coachella.
It'd probably
So
cost a lot more. The movie would cost a lot more to make.
no, for sure, man. I never realized.
Beginning to end.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I never realized like just how expensive CGI was until Game of Thrones. Again, I have no clue how much. I still don't know how much it cost, but I didn't realize that it was so much of a budget and like the people that have to create that stuff until like Game of Thrones, when they're just like, yeah, we're just gonna show a dragon like 30 seconds an episode because this is costing us billions of dollars or millions of dollars or whatever the number is, man. Like I'm idiot when it comes to those things, but like I didn't realize how much CGI costs and would like cost the film to be able to put on screen, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're James Cameron and you're going to start making Avatar films, and it's a whole different thing. But
Yeah. Right.
another film, man, you're going to judge me, and I know you at all people are going to judge me. But In the Heights, man, I'm actually really excited for In the Heights. Lin Manuel Miranda, right, the same person who created and directed and wrote Hamilton.
Yeah.
He's doing In the Heights. So Anthony Ramos, who was also like I think the lead in the play, is going to be in the show. So I think that comes out on the 10th or something, or if it doesn't come out on the 10th, it comes out sometime next week.
Oh,
But In the Heights, that's another film that I'm pretty excited to come out, man. I think that it's I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Broadway shows. It's just not my thing. But I think that like anything that Lin Manuel Miranda kind of touches, man, is just gold right now. So I think it's gonna be a good movie. And I know that, like I said, it comes out next month, right? So another movie that I did recently watch that I wanted to kind of talk about, and like I said, no spoilers. I'm not gonna ruin the film, man. Like I hope you go back and watch it. But A Quiet Place 2. there's the one thing that I forgot, right? So one thing from watching the first film that I completely forgot about, the name is in the title, is it's fucking quiet in the theater.
Yeah.
And so like it's cool because like you're just like it builds a suspense, but at the same time, fucking Joe Schmo next to me is just crunching on some goddamn popcorn. Like, he's like burping, and I hear him burp, or like he moves his elbow or something. I swear I heard somebody fart in the background. Like it was just like I just forgot that it's so quiet that people are like making a bunch of noise in the background, man. But again, it didn't ruin my experience or anything like that. But just like I forgot about that aspect of the film. So when I went in there, I was super excited, and then the film starts, and it's like there's a point where it gets quiet, and you're just like, oh shit, I just heard somebody like they dropped their keys or they're walking up the stairs, and you're just like, oh damn it, like I hear literally everything. So exactly, you hear the fucking squeaky or the stickiness of the floors just from that aspect. So I think that was, but also the beginning of the movie, the way it starts, and again, it's part in the trailer. It's really reminiscent of the Last of Us, the very first Last of Us. And I know you played the very beginning of the Last of Us, Derek, like kind of how that starts, and
Yeah.
whenever they go to the town and everything, it starts becoming chaos. Kind of the same. It gave me that feel, man. Like it gave me that feel. I was anxious. I was just like, oh man, I don't know what's gonna happen. Um, but yeah, man, if you get a chance, definitely watch it. People who are listening, if you haven't watched it already, go watch it. It's a great film. It stands alone as being good. So like sometimes you have a sweet sequel and you're like, I hope it's better than the first one. It's just as good as the first one, but I think it stands alone and kind of what it's gonna what it brings onto the screen. And so that's all I'm gonna say about it. I'm not gonna say anything else. Like definitely go check it out if you get a chance.
Oh, you brought up Last of Us. Isn't there? Aren't they creating a Last of Us series on HBO?
Yes, they are. I believe Pedro Pascal was one of the people that got.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's on like he's coming out with a bunch of stuff, man. He went from. Okay, so I'll ask you, where did you first see Pedro Pascal?
Game
Like
of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, right? So I actually saw him because I kind of got on the Game of Thrones, you know, bandwagon a little later,
Yeah.
but I know him from Narcos. So when I watched Narcos, that first season of Narcos, when they're chasing Pablo Escobar, like I remember him from that, and I was just like, oh man, this dude's super cool. And then now he's just popping up on so many different things. And so that was with. Then eventually I saw him on like, or what's it called? I saw him on the on HBO Game of Thrones, and I was just like, oh, okay, that's that guy. I was like, I remember this guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. I think he's gonna play Joel, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I think so.
And I think they've also selected a few other people to play some of the. They got somebody else to be in the show as well. I can't remember who it is. I'm trying to look it up really quickly to see. Let's see. The cast here is. So that's what. So they got Pedro Pascal, and then they got Bella Ramsey. Bella Ramsey was the Mormont girl from
Oh,
Game of Thrones.
the mean girl or the
Yeah, the
yeah,
girl that had, she gave no shit. She took no shit from
yeah.
nobody.
She's Ellie, right?
Yeah, she's gonna be Ellie. And then I think they got somebody else named Gabriel Luna. Oh yeah. So Gabriel Luna, I think he's gonna be Tommy. So he's gonna be Joel's brother.
Right.
Gabriel Luna was, if you've seen the most recent Terminator film,
Yeah.
so he's that Hispanic guy that like is the Terminator in the film.
So he's playing the one from Terminator 2, isn't he? The one that's like the liquid metal one.
Yes, the
Yeah.
one that like divides into two different ones.
Yeah, when he gets shot in the head and it like splits and then it comes back together.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that guy is going to be Tommy Miller, which is Joel's brother
Yeah.
in the series. So, but yeah, but speaking of series or games that go into series, man, is there any of them that you're excited about, or any of them that Because in my opinion, I think a lot of times whenever they make a game, great story, right, and people always talk about like, I would love to see this in a movie,
Yeah.
and then it comes out in a movie and doesn't do as well as you would think,
Yeah.
right? One of the things we were talking about a little bit was like the
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed film, where like the games are cool, the concept, the idea, fucking awesome.
Yeah,
And then they came out with the movie and it just flopped at the box office, right? Prince of Persia, right? Prince of Persia is another one,
yeah.
right? Was a game, came out of the movie. Jake Gyllenhaal was the character, and then I think that one also kind of flopped. So, um, do you think it'll ever? Do you think with it going to a series format will be more successful than from a television aspect?
I think so because they can make adjustments every episode, as opposed to like once the movie is done and edited and put out, it's done. Like there's nothing you can't bring that shit. You can't bring it back and change it. I mean, you could, but people are gonna know. But if it's a
Yeah,
series, like from week to week, you can kind of change the story as as if you see people like say something about the previous episode, then you can kind of go off what people are saying to alter your next episode or whatever.
yeah. I mean, that makes a
I
good
don't know
point.
if that'll actually happen, but I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah, no, I mean, it kind of brings me back to like, it reminds me of like Robert Kirkman and him in The Walking Dead, right? Like when he penned, when he was penning and writing and creating all those comic books, and he decided to come out with the show, he was like, I'm gonna fix all the things that I had, that maybe I wasn't a fan of, maybe that like I thought it was gonna work in the comic book. I'm gonna change that and put it on the television series, and and for the most part, it worked, and I mean that's why the show is successful and has continued its run till
Yeah,
now, right? So, um, but that's kind of one of the things. I guess I kind of or another movie, right? I know we haven't really talked about, but the Mortal Kombat films, right? Like it was a game, and then it came out to the movie. And was
yeah,
the movie successful? No, but it was still pretty decent, right? It was cool to see on to come out live. Another one was Detective Pikachu.
yeah. That was actually pretty good.
That was good, right? Having that Mortal Kombat or not Mortal Kombat, having that like it being a video game and then come out.
And they're aren't they rebooting Resident Evil as well?
I hope so.
I think I read somewhere that they are.
I hope so, man. They need to revamp that series, like from a movie perspective. If they're gonna make it a movie, like I would hope they revamp it because I don't necessarily know if I liked some of them were pretty cool, but some of them I think they just kind of like died off and didn't weren't as successful or like as I thought it they could have been, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
I think they just like that original, however many there were, just like it ran its course. They couldn't like. There's nothing that they could do to go back and like fix all that in one movie. So to just reboot the whole series, I think would probably be the best thing.
I'm like looking at a list right now, and I think Detective Pikachu was from a ratings perspective was probably the highest rating with like a 63% on or 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, and then uh I think the second highest would be Sonic the Hedgehog, but there's also an animated, I guess Angry Birds 2 got a
Oh,
really high rating.
all the parents took their kids to see that.
Yeah, so the kids probably love it, the parents love it and stuff, but like every other I let's see. Oh, I guess Taken came out with a game or came out with a movie and it got a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Zero.
And
So
then this,
there is a Resident Evil reboot coming out. Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City it actually comes out this year in November.
are you kidding? Oh man, I'm super pumped. I am super pumped for it, man. I got to look more into that one.
It won't follow the course set by the six films with Mila Jovovich.
Oh,
Um,
she's gonna be in it.
no, it doesn't. So this
Okay,
tells the
okay.
story of the zombie outbreak as it first happened inside the perimeters of Raccoon City. So maybe it's going to be closer to like Resident Evil 2 and 3, the game.
Ooh, that'd be
Um,
awesome.
let's see. Let me see if it. So Chris Redfield is going to be in it.
Oh yeah.
Jill Valentine, Albert Wesker, Leon Kennedy, Claire Redfield, and Ada Wong are all in
So
the.
so Chris Redfield and Joe Valentine was the last podcast that we talked about those games, and I remember playing them. That's the game, whatever game they were in, because I remember they were both police officers, and I remember telling you guys that they start that you're like in some kind of car, and then like a
Yeah,
truck comes and destroys it, and then you got to get split up, and you could be one of the other characters. That's what it was. Those were the, I couldn't remember their names, but those were the people.
So I don't think there's already a trailer. I guess there was already a trailer.
What?
Came out in March.
No.
Let me see if there's any.
I mean, I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Did you hear about Thor? Not Thor. God of War Ragnarok, man.
Yeah, it got pushed to next year.
Got pushed to 2022.
I mean, as long as it's still good, I'll be happy.
I mean, same here, man. Like, of course, we talked about Cyberpunk and stuff. Like, take as much time as you want. Just
Yeah.
make sure that
Well,
it's good.
Like, Cyberpunk was originally announced in 2008. 12 years for this game to come out, and it was crappy.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the story, I like the concept and everything. I wouldn't say it was a crappy game.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it yet, but it was buggy. So don't take 12 years and then release something that still doesn't work.
No.
I guess that's my thing. Like, if you work on something for 12 years, you shouldn't be releasing something that's broken. Like, why? How do these other companies are able to release, like, Call of Duties come out year after year after year after year?
Yeah.
And they're not. How often are they, like, all bugged out and, like, I don't buy every Call of Duty every year, so I don't know.
Honestly, they're not, man. Like,
but like Madden or MLB, like, I'm like, how are these companies doing it? But this studio, and they're not a small studio. It's not like it's a small studio. They made
It's
The
not.
Witcher. I mean, there's other games that they've made. So how can you take 12 years and still release something that's still, like, that doesn't work when other studios are releasing games year after year after year? And yeah, probably some of the code is the same, like MLB and Madden.
I was about to say, yeah.
It's probably not a lot of code changing, but they're still able to do it and not release a bug fest. And some of these other big studios, it might take how long was the announcement before Red Dead 2 until it came out? Probably maybe 5 years.
Yep.
And then I'd never had any issues with that game.
Yeah.
So
beautiful game.
If these other studios can do it, why can't you?
Yeah. And again, maybe
Santa Monica Studios needs an additional year. Like, it was just announced last year, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
So if you need an additional year to work on a game that they just announced a year ago, I'm fine with that, as long as it's not, a crap fest when it comes out. As long as they don't, it's not buggy and needs like 45 updates within the first week that it comes out.
No, man, you make a good point, and that's what I was going to say about Madden. Just like you touched on it, right? I was like, maybe it was like some kind of, they have a basis for those games, right? Call of Duty has a basis on how they know they're going to play. And the good thing for them, man, is like I think Fortnite hacked the system for them. And what I mean by hack the system, like, they figured it out, right? Loot boxes, or like, hey, like, if you want these particular skins, like, this is a free game, but if you want any kind of aesthetics to your character or to your game or to your gun, or it doesn't matter, like, you have to pay for those.
Yeah.
And people want those, right? Like, I joked around it with my friends whenever I would play like Fortnite with my nephew or something like that. Like, they would call me no skin because I had no skin. They're like, oh, look at this no skin, and they would make fun of me, and I was just like, what the hell? But again, they figured it out from a revenue perspective, man. That's genius.
Yeah.
Like, because you imagine, like, you're playing, or let's say
they're going to tell their parents, oh, I want this thing or this thing, and their parents are going to be like, all right, it's only like $5. It's only it's only $8, whatever. The parents aren't going to blink twice about so, as opposed to a $70 game.
Man, I got a funny story about that. So I don't mean to interrupt you, man. I'll never forget somebody told me, and I won't say their name or who the person is or anything like that. But somebody told me, no, somebody told me a story of how their kid, or one day they were trying to purchase something, or they got their bill in for the credit card, and it was like $500, and like, this person was just like, what? Like, who the hell? Like, I didn't spend $500. Like, what the hell is Epic Games? Or Epic, like, I didn't spend money, like, whatever. So this person started calling, and what ended up happening was that their child, like, was like, took the credit card out, like this person had permission, but Not no goddamn $500 worth, and it was all on skins, on like V-Bucks, just like, you know what I'm saying, like $500 of this person's like credit card, and just like used it all for like all this stuff, you know what I mean? And so eventually they like they this person, like the parent, like took the gaming system, or like their their PC and stuff away from them for like for forever, literally, pretty much. But like, but again, it's just things like that. Like I have friends that I talk to, like, for example, another friend of mine, like World of Warcraft, right? Like my friend told me, he's like, yeah, I spent about $5,000, like $5,000 to $7,000 on a free game.
That's nuts.
He was just like, he's like, you know what? He's like, and you know what? He's like, literally none of this stuff that I have been like helped me at all in the game. Like none of it helped me in the game. It didn't help me advance. It was just for pure visuals and stuff. But again, kind of going back, is just like, I know they get the revenue from that, and we don't know what was going on at like behind the scenes, right? Maybe people were
Yeah,
getting fired, or they being treated terribly. We don't know, man. So I wish they would give us a little insight. Obviously they won't, but just give us something, man. Tell us something as to like why this is going on or that going on, and then shit, we'll be happy. We'll put our hands up and be like, you guys get after it. Just give us a good ass game, right?
yeah,
Because I think with God of War, for example, like, well, PlayStation came out, and or some of the creators, they're just like, yeah, people say that adventure games can't win us, can't earn money, can't still be successful. They goddamn still can be successful, and they still can make a lot of money, and it's an exclusive game. So if you can make a shit ton of money on it, then like, invest in it, man, and
yeah.
make sure to keep with it and stuff. So I don't
I
know,
mean, some of these
ranting here.
exclusives that are just a playthrough. It's not like a game where you buy extras, keep playing it.
Yeah,
God of War, Last of Us, Uncharted. Like,
Ghost of
they make
Tsushima.
a lot of money. And I mean, I buy these games and I play through them once, and I usually don't play through a game again.
No.
And so, they get my money every time, and then I'll either take the old games to GameStop and get like $2 for it and put it in or whatever. But
No. You take it to you take it to GameStop. They give you an IOU, man. That's what they give you.
or they make you give them money to take your game from them from you.
Yeah, yeah.
You owe us $5 for this game that you don't
And
you
I
own.
was, I think the last time I told you guys I went to GameStop, like I was in there, some guy came in with some like Xbox game, right? It was like it was either Xbox 360 or Xbox game. Like it was just like it was one of the early games, and I think it was like maybe a 2K game. I don't remember what it was, but it was like a popular game when it came out. Not
Yeah,
as popular anymore. And like he went to GameStop, and later was just like, I can give you 5 cents for it, or something ridiculous, to the point where she was just like, look, man, I don't even want this. Like, you're gonna have to pay me to take this. And he just like, he put it on the counter and just like, well, if you guys want it, you can have it, or if you want to give it to the next person that comes up here, give it to them. And that was it. Like, he was just like, he's like, I don't want this shit. Like, I don't want it. Like, I don't want to take this back home. He's like, I cleaned up everything and got rid of everything. He's like, this is the
yeah.
only thing that was left of that particular thing. Like, I don't want this. Like, take this shit. Like, take it with you. Get out of here. Right. So I had never seen that before, man. They always offer people like, hey, man, here's 50 cents for your goddamn game. But like, she legit was just like 15 cents. Like, I can't give you more than that. We
Yeah,
don't want this. We don't even sell this console or games in our like in GameStop anymore. Like, we don't want this
yeah.
shit. Like, take this shit up the road, man. Like, there's a dumpster. It might be worth more in there than
Right.
than with us or some
Just
shit like
drop
that.
it
So,
off at Goodwill or whatever, and let some kid that they got their first Xbox get a game for 25 cents.
and we're talking about like getting an old Xbox, man. I really want to get an old system of something. Like, I want to get like an old like Nintendo or like a GameCube or something like that to play like
I
Super
had a
Smash
game,
Brothers.
and this was years after the game. They were already on Nintendo Wii when I
Yeah,
bought a GameCube, and I bought it because Resident Evil Zero, Resident Evil One, all those were remastered on there.
yeah,
Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes, like I bought it specifically for those games because you couldn't get them anywhere else.
yep.
And in the I didn't want to play the original PlayStation version on a PS3 because I tried that and it was crap.
I remember you telling me the controls were so bad.
So like playing on GameCube, that it looked better, it played better,
Hmm.
so it was worth buying a GameCube, 10 years after it was released just to play these older games.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I want to do is like get one of those. Like somebody at work the other day, when I was working, they were talking about a Game Boy Color, and I was like, man, Game Boy Colors are not cheap. I
Yeah,
was like, it's not like you can just go anywhere and find a Game Boy Color, man. And I was like, you're not paying like $5 or $10. So maybe like 5 years after it was released, you probably could have paid that much to get one because they were just literally anywhere. But like now, like you're paying 40, $50 for it. Maybe again, I'm just estimating. I don't know like how much they cost right now, but like you're not getting a Game Boy Color like cheap.
yeah,
I was like, let me look this up real quick. Let's see if I can. Yeah, so there's some like online, right? Refurbished on eBay, you can buy a Game Boy Color for $200.
that's ridiculous.
Or you can get a refurbished or different refurbished one for like $120. You know what I mean? So I was like, yo, Game Boy Colors are not cheap anymore. I was like, games like that are not cheap because I know what it was. I had I somebody I work with, man, wears like different earrings, and one of the earrings was like a cartridge to like a Game Boy Color or something like that, right? And it was like or it was like a Game Boy game, and it was like it was an earring, and that person had it. I think it was like Zelda or something like that. And I was just like, yo, those things are not cheap. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. When I deployed to Iraq, we had a bunch of us had Game Boy Advances, and you
oh
could connect them to
shit.
play multiplayer. Like you had to be sitting by the person.
Yeah.
Played was called Advance Wars, so it's like a turn-based combat game.
Yeah.
And it was like four people I think, and we all connected and we all had the same game, and we'd sit there for hours playing this game.
Now, one of my favorite one of the things that were difficult, right, with the Game Boys, right? One was like there was no lighting in them,
Yeah,
right? And some of the earlier editions. So with the Game Boy Advance, did it have light on it, or did you guys have to play like out in the daylight or some
I
shit?
think it was full color and backlit.
It had backlit. Okay, yeah, because I remember the first ones
I
did it,
don't remember.
man. Like being in the car at night trying to play that damn game, you'd have to hope, you have to pause it in between the car lights and hope to
Yeah,
like get under it to fucking quit play
yeah,
real quick. And you're just sitting there in the darkness, just like fuck, 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 hurry, 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 and you have to pause, wait, and you're under the light and trying to get after it again, man. But long road trips in like backwoods of Texas, man, there's not shit out there, man. So it's
yeah.
dark as hell. You might as well just turn that off and wait till the sun come out or something.
Right.
Or even at nighttime, you have to have like a little light. Some of them came with the
Yeah,
light.
like attachment, it came up over it like a little street lamp.
Yeah, you sit there and play it like that too, man. So that was an old school thing. Hate to deviate here a little bit, man, but I know we wanted to talk about the shows and the seasons. Love, Death, and Robots, man. I don't know if I said the title right, but um, I know you just started it. What were your thoughts, man? Favorite episode?
I mean, I've finished all the first season, all 18 episodes, and the 8 seasons of the second. I don't know if they're going to make more for the
Mm-hmm.
second season, but I watched it all, and I think it was good episode to episode. There was a couple here and there that it wasn't so great, but for the most part, there was a lot of good concepts and a lot of good ideas and a lot of creativity put in these episodes.
One of my favorite ones. Oh, again, I have a lot of like literally the first season, man. There's like I have a lot more episodes that I liked that I didn't like,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and I feel the same way.
One of the ones that was the trippiest, man, was the girl in the window.
Trying to think of, oh, that's the one where the girl saw the guy kill the girl.
And they're in a running loop. Oh my
Yeah, that was
god. That was fucking trippy, man. Like, but again, cool ass concept. Like,
yeah,
again, like I told you guys, I'm fucking dumb. I don't know how that shit works, but like, it's so creative for somebody to come up with like, oh, this is gonna be a running loop. You're
yeah.
gonna die, and then you're gonna be the person that kills the other person, right? Just oh shit, that was a cool episode.
The
The
first episode was good with the three robots on vacation.
Yeah. That was a really good episode. Another one was the one on the farm where they're all in like fucking robots.
Oh yeah, they all had like mechs, and them things were coming through the portal.
Dude, that one was fucking awesome. Yeah, they were coming to the portal, and then like at the ending, right? Like
Yeah,
they think they're done, and then it's just like not even to be continued. Just
yeah, that was cool.
that one was a really good. And I can't believe I remember these, man. I've seen it. Like I've watched it twice, but it's been a while since I've seen it. But like that was a really good episode. I know you and I were discussing the werewolf episode. That one was that was awesome.
Yeah, that one was really good. That was probably one of my favorites.
Where he like turns into like a werewolf and stuff. And then if not only that one, it was what was it? That one was a really good one. And then fuck, man. Oh, the one where the guy is like they're going on this long extended mission, and like he's asleep, but then he wakes up, and then like he notices that like he sees an old friend that he didn't
Oh
know.
yeah,
Fuck, man. And then like it like zooms out or whatever, and it shows like he's being hive mind
yeah.
almost, where like this fucking like giant alien is like just oh dude, oh my god, like you're just sitting there, you're just like, okay, this is pretty hot, they're getting it on, and then like it's a fucking disgusting alien. Oh man, that like that one blew my mind. One of my favorites, man. My favorite episode, and I don't know why, man, but it's Zima Blue. Zima Blue is probably my favorite episode.
Oh yeah, where he like went back to what he started as.
Yeah, man, he was
That's
just and but
crazy.
yeah, that was a good episode. I think that like when he was like painting in the cosmos and the universe and stuff, like that was blew my mind. I was blew my mind. But it's I think the voice actor, I love his voice. He
Yeah,
does a lot of voice acting for a bunch of different shows. And he's great, man. But that episode was another one of my favorites. And then, they also had some pretty like famous people, right, who did some of the series. I haven't seen all of season 2, but I remember the one episode was like Michael B. Jordan was
yeah.
in that episode,
The spacecraft one.
that spacecraft one,
Yeah, the
so
stupid robot that malfunctioned.
yeah. So but yeah, man, Love Death Robots, another great series, and I love the anthologies of it, right? Like the fact that every episode doesn't coincide with the
Yeah,
previous
they're all
episode.
different, and it's all done by somebody else.
Yeah, and another thing too, man, and I think that I hope it slightly becomes more of a custom is the 15-minute mark, right? Like they're 15 minutes, maybe somewhere like almost 30 minutes, but
I think most like the longest I saw was maybe like 18 minutes or something like that. 20
yeah,
minutes max. But most were like 7 minutes around that time frame, 7 to 12 minutes.
yeah, and so that's kind of cool. And then another thing with the show, um, is, and I think with that 15-minute mark, it's really reminiscent of like Robot Chicken,
Yeah,
and just in regards to this, just like it's quick, it's fast. We're trying to tell us a story. We don't need an hour and a half to tell you something that's going to be shocking and just trippy at the same time. So I think that the creativeness of that episode or of the show is really good. But speaking of Robot Chicken, another show that I'm recently watching is Modoc. Um, I know you and I were kind of talking about it a little bit. It is within the Marvel universe. You get to
yeah,
see like some prominent characters, but it's also funny to see like Marvel characters like rated M for mature.
yeah.
There's a few of them out there, but like he's like this show is like rated M for mature. Pat Oswalt does the
It's
voice of Modoc.
yeah,
I think Melissa Fumero, which is I think Amy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, she does like his partner's voice, and I think there was even an episode. Again, and I'm sorry if I'm leaving out a bunch of like other celebrities, but one of the episodes I remember vividly, like one of the characters was fucking Whoopi Goldberg. And I was like, what is she doing in this show? Like,
right.
what is she doing, like voicing the character or whatever? But another good show, man. If you haven't watched, recommend. It's a funny show to kind of hear on to see like. It's always funny to me to see comic book characters so wholesome, so pure, and then like their other dark side with like
Yeah,
villains and they're cursing and talking shit. And you
yeah,
know, there was like one episode where he's like, again, won't spoil that too much, but like he's like he's like outside of his house, and like he knows that he knows that they have money, so he puts on like a ski mask and has a crowbar, and he's like, well, he's like, yeah, they have money, but shit, I need more money now. And he's gonna break into his own house to steal money or something. It's a trippy scene, it's funny, but just like little shit like that, you're like, what the fuck, did he just put on a ski mask to rob his own house? And
right.
then somebody stops him, obviously, but you're just like, what is going on here, man? So it's a good show, Modoc. So far I like it, and I think that the voice acting is really good and the jokes are on par too, man. So
Yeah, I think we covered a lot today. I think we got through.
we covered a lot of shit, man. Yeah.
Justin
I,
Justin missed out today. He didn't get
I,
a part of this.
and for sure, man. I know he stays busy, but he's gonna have to try to hop on the episode here or the next episode, man, so we can talk about some of
Yeah,
this stuff. Hopefully, he's listening. If he is listening, Justin, man, we miss you. I know you're busy doing your thing, man, but you need to make an episode, man. So
yeah, we need you back.
I would love to hear your opinions on some of the shit that we talked about today. See if you'd seen some of this stuff or played some of the games we talked about or anything like that. Or I know he would understand the Game Boy Color thing. So
Yeah, he'd definitely be all over the Game Boy, the whole Game Boy combo.
Especially since we were talking about Nintendo. Did you ever, oddly enough, man, did you ever have a PSP?
I did. I had the original one with and then I had the PS Vita as well.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about the PS Vita. Do they even still have support for those
I'm
that you know of?
sure they don't make anything for them anymore, but I'm pretty sure you can still like if you have one, it'll still like you can still use it. I don't know if the remote play will work anymore because I used the remote play on the PS Vita to play Destiny on my PS4 when Destiny.
Oh shit.
Yeah, when I was on break at work, I would break out the Vita and play some Destiny remote from my PS4. I don't know if that'll still work, and I doubt it'll. I don't know if it'll even connect to a PS5 now.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. And the reason I asked about like support because I know they were talking about like, and which I don't know if they did, but they were going to stop like putting games on like PS3.
Yeah, I think they were going to shut down support for that, but then there was so many people that like they complained about it. They decided to keep it going.
Which is great, man, because again, I think there's still a huge market for the PlayStation 3, right? Like, I still, no, do I still use it? No, I don't think I'm over here talking smack. Like, yeah, people still use it, and I was like, nope, never mind. I don't even think I still use
I
it,
mean,
man, because I used it for the longest time. Like, I had my PS4 in my in like the living room where I would use
yeah,
like play most of my games, and then I had my PlayStation 3 in the bedroom. So like if I wanted to like go, there's some old games that I played mainly like NCAA and I had like Mortal Kombat and just some other games that I had on there that I would play. I think I had NBA Jam. Like there was like they came up with like a newly NBA Jam game or something like that, and so
I think a lot of the time when I saw you come online and it showed that you're on your PS3, you were watching like Netflix or Hulu or something.
okay, so listen, man, I was using it for that too. I would play some games, I swear I would, but mainly it was like I'd be in my bedroom, like, all right, I'm gonna throw
Yeah,
on some
that's
Netflix.
what I like at my old place before I moved. I had the PS5 in the living room, which I gamed on,
Hmm.
and then the PS4 was in the bedroom, and I would watch HBO and all that stuff from that.
I was upset whenever they stopped supporting HBO on the PS3. Like, I don't know if you know that, but they came out and they gave us a notification. They were like, all right, man, at this day, we're gonna stop showing this shit.
Yeah,
Like HBO, like the app, is not gonna be used on PlayStation 3 anymore. And then I was upset when they got rid of PlayStation TV or I forgot there was a name for it, but
yeah,
they they
their own TV service.
yeah, man, I had that too. That was great, man. I loved it because like
I had it for a few months also.
yeah, I had it for I mean I had it for like a year and a half. Like that's what I used for ESPN, for TNT, for NFL Network. They had the NFL Network on there. You could buy I think you could buy like NBA Pass and like they would show you all the NBA games and you can buy like there were more versions. They had a lot of channels on there,
Yeah,
man. Now I had to get away from that and like I had to obviously when they canceled it and they were just like, hey, we're not going to use this anymore. We're going to stop supporting this. And I think they refund me my last month or something like that. But and I was upset whenever they did that, and I was like, well, shit, now I got to find a different subscription service. But I'm sure they were just all like, man, we got to invest our time and energy in other things,
yeah,
which is not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's like a really smart thing for them to do because like,
yeah,
I mean, like look at all the shit that they have given us now,
yeah,
so whether it's TVs, whether it's gaming systems, whether it's fucking movies, production, all that stuff, man. It's some good stuff. So, um, which again, speaking of movies, I know we were going to talk about Army of the Dead a little bit. What were some of your thoughts on the movie?
I mean, I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty good, and I liked the idea that the zombies were kind of intelligent. They had a hierarchy and all that stuff. I thought that was a pretty cool concept. That they weren't just you know brain dead monsters looking to chew people's face off.
Not to be controversial, man, and I'm not trying to be here, but I thought it was funny. Or you never so like when I would watch zombie films, right? Whether it's your World War Z, whether it's your Dawn of the Dead, or Day of the Dead, or whatever the films were, right? Um, that you like after like I think after this pandemic, it's put some perspective on like it's just like, oh man, like yeah, we would like yeah, I get their zombies. Like yeah, no, humans would never get to that point. Like no, we'd be fine. If there were zombies in real life, we'd end them. It'd be done. We'd move on and be like, damn, remember that funny time when there was like two zombies in Florida? Yes, they would be in Florida at all places. In Florida, man, right? Remember the two zombies that were in Florida and like we fucking killed them and that was it? Like that'd be in the history. But then after all this shit that happened and like watching Army of the Dead, I'm all like, damn, that shit could really happen. Like some idiot, right, wouldn't be listening, be like, nah, we'll be fine. This motherfucker's not gonna bite me. And then that bitch bites him, and then he turns into a zombie. Then he goes back home, and then he has like family and shit that are also like, nah, they don't bite us. And then they get fucking bit, and then all of a sudden we're like flooded with zombies. And
Yeah,
then I was just like, for the longest time, man, I was like really naive. I was like, nah. I was like, if it's not airborne, I was like, we'll be fine. Like nobody's just gonna fucking let people bite them, and it was like gonna spread as fast as it would spread. But like after all this shit that like happened, obviously this past year, I'm all like, well, fuck. I was like, if fucking zombies come like ever became real, or if that was a thing, I was like, we're fucking dead. I'm dead. I'm not gonna live, man.
I have to go find an island somewhere. Hope that they can't swim.
Hell yeah. Or unless it's like that one Dawn of the Dead film, which I think it was like the third one or the second one, where they would just like
Walk into the water.
walk under fucking water. Holy shit. Well, unless it's like fucking the Bahamas or something, or like some of like the Bermuda Islands or some shit. And the reason I say that is because I could think that like there's like land and then it fucking drops.
Yeah,
So like maybe something like that.
and for sure they can't just climb back out of a sheer cliff.
Hell no, there's gonna be fucking running into the wall like over and over and over.
Eventually, they would just, the water would, just like pull them apart and everything because the skin is going to continue to deteriorate and die. And
Oh shit.
underwater, it's going to get all loose
Yeah, and it would deteriorate even faster.
and probably fish would be nibbling on them and everything.
But then will we have zombie fish?
I don't know, just don't eat fish. It's like an island, we can't eat fish. I guess we're vegetarians now.
Yeah, because like they had the tiger zombie, right? So there's like, what if you have fucking shark zombies now?
I'm not swimming anymore.
you're like, I'm staying on this fucking island. I'm living off coconuts for the rest of my goddamn life, or whatever. Like animals are on this bitch. And just call it a day.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know how you're gonna get cows and fuck a cheeseburger. Cheeseburgers are gone. Like that's
yeah, bring a couple of cows on the boat with us. A bull and a cow, not two cows or two bulls. We'd just be screwed. Like, well, I guess we each get a steak and that's it. We're done.
It's just like everybody bring the lions and shit, and they bring lions and they all have fucking manes, and we're just like, wait a minute, all these lions are goddamn dead, or like you said, bulls and shit are on there, and just
Yeah.
like, so how do we these bitches make babies? I don't know. Let them get on top of the other one. I don't think that's how that works. We're sitting there watching these goddamn bulls just being like,
Yeah,
well,
someone
fuck.
screwed up.
I was like, who the fuck did this? Is it Billy? Hey, Billy, bring your ass over here, man. What the hell's wrong with this picture? Oh no, you said bring two fucking cows. It's like, yeah, dumbass, these aren't cows. I was like, you see them with their wings out there just hanging out, trying to hump each other. Nothing's happening, right? No, exactly, you fucking idiot. No, I don't know, man. I was like, again, I'm fucking ranting. I'm just getting off topic here. I'm going on a tangent about fucking cows and them trying to do their thing or whatever. We got to get back to the movie. But anyways, Army of the Dead. I was like, I don't know what the fuck we're doing. Anyways, Army of the Dead, man. I liked it. I always love. I've always been a big fan of Zack Snyder's like his aesthetic,
Yeah,
right? The way that he films his movies, and the way that they look. Like I really liked like the first, the Superman movie that he did. Visually, I thought it was beautiful, right? Army of the Dead, I thought it was beautiful. Maybe somebody else should write his films.
let him do the directing and
Yeah, let him do the directing and just visualize like all the other stuff. But no, man, it was cool. At that point, if there's going to be a hierarchy, maybe they shouldn't be like considered zombies. And I don't know if anybody really considered. Well, I think they did call them zombies and stuff in the film, but like maybe at that point, I prefer to call them like savages.
yeah,
Like similar to like whenever whenever people were on ships and they came to America and they were just like, oh, look at these people, they're savages, right? Because like they didn't have gods and all this other stuff and the things that they
yeah,
were doing. I would have loved to see more so something like that, where it's like, but they get genetically enhanced, and
yeah,
I think that's kind of like what it is. Like get genetically enhanced, they eventually create a hierarchy, and it's almost like they're backwards people.
yeah,
Like it's like human civilization took a backwards kind of step where it's like, hey, we don't fucking we don't care about currency, we don't care about like political shit. It's just all like we're gonna fucking sacrifice virgins and go hunt buffalo. Fuck it, let's do it. You know what I mean, or whatever. But in Buffalo, there aren't buffalo, they're fucking humans. Because whenever the opening scene, whenever the fucking zombies like ducking and dodging bullets and shit, I'm all like, yo, what is
Yeah, that's
happening right
crazy.
now? I was like, this dude just like, did he just fucking dodge a bullet? Like, at that point, guns are useless. If I'm shooting a motherfucker and he's dodging these bullets, I'm dropping the gun and being like, bro, dude, just end me. What do you want? Just
Right.
fucking like, what do you? We could have whatever the fuck you want. Who do you want to meet the leader of the free world? Come on, bro, I got you. Let's go take you somewhere real quick, or whatever, So, but they were pretty cool.
Yeah, it was worth a watch. I don't know if I would have paid money to go to the movies and see it, but it was worth watching.
Yeah,
And
I
if they
think
made
I
another
think
one, I'd probably watch that one too.
if they made a sequel.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, I always love a good zombie film. I always like a good zombie game. I always love a good zombie film. Like, I love the genre. I can't say that I'm the most intelligent when it comes to the zombie genre films, and I have like all this knowledge, but it's really good. Which uh, I know I'm getting deviating here, man, chasing the topic here a little bit, but like, um, have you ever seen the movie called What We Do in the Shadows?
it sounds familiar, but I don't think I have.
Okay, if you haven't, man, highly recommend. They eventually did a spin-off show with they did a spin-off show of the movie. So there's a show on FX. It's
It's
called What We Do in the
about
Shadows.
vampires, right?
It's about vampires. Yeah. If you haven't watched it, watch it, man. There's one of the episodes. There's some great cameos from former vampires in television and movies.
Yeah.
You'll get a good kick out of it, man. But the movie is awesome. It's funny. Uh, I think it's Takai Waititi. Um,
Yep.
he's a director. Well, of course, he directed, I believe, Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so like he's hilarious. The show is hilarious. It's very dry humor because it's like, I think he's from New Zealand, so the humor is a little bit different, like in
Yeah.
the movie. But in the show, man, it is funny as hell. Again, if you want to see like how vampires from Victorian era are trying to like live in a modern world, it's fucking hilarious, man. Like, there's a scene in the movie where like he's just like, all right, man, like, how do we need to look up some stuff or whatever? And the guy's like, all right, yeah, man, let me get a computer for you. And there's just like, what is a computer? What is the web? And so they start showing them the web, and they're like, one of the guys just like, oh man, I remember I had like a servant with me, right? And the servant I had, was back in like the 1800s or early 1900s or something, back in, in like Italy or whatever. So one guy's like typing it up or whatever, and like he's like, look, was it this person? And he's just like, oh my god, it is that person. I haven't seen them in so long. And so like they Skype that person. It's fucking hilarious, man. Like, he Skypes like his old familiar. That's what they're called. Like, when a vampire has somebody who's like who's a human and takes care of them,
Yeah.
but they have to follow like eventually the goal is so that that vampire that they're familiar to eventually turn them into a vampire, because they want to be vampires. And so they live with them. But anyways, it was like an old familiar from a long time ago, and like I think that person like got lost or something, and so he lost touch with them and wanted to go back. And then one of them, and then in the series, one of them is like, oh yeah, like I have an ancestor, or like I have, or it was just like, yeah, like I have descendants. And so like they do like a 23andMe, or like a ancestry.com thing, and they're like, yeah, your great 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 granddaughter lives here in Staten Island, because they live in Staten Island. I know, man, it's so funny. And so he goes, so they go to like Staten Island or something, and they find like his ancestor, and like he's like looking at them, and it's just like it's fucking funny, man. You have to give it a shot, man. It's a good show.
Yeah.
It's out there a little bit, man, but it's worth a watch
Cool. I'll have to look that up.
if you haven't seen it. And then I know you said that you also you had to watch some of the new Transformer animated series too, right?
Yeah. So I've watched the first two seasons, Siege and Earthrise,
Hmm.
um, and they were good. Uh, and I've heard the next one is going to be like Beast Wars, which I'm not too excited about.
Beast World.
I never got into the Beast Wars Transformers series or any of their, any of that part of the Transformers universe or whatever. So, I mean, I'll probably watch it when it comes out, but I'm just not as like pumped for that as I was for these first two, for Siege and Earthrise.
My first experience with Transformers, man, was Beast Wars.
Really?
Like they had an animated show, and I
Yeah,
loved it, man. I don't as a kid. I was a kid, man. I didn't know any better. Like I tried to rewatch it, like maybe about 2 3 years ago. I just couldn't. It was so bad. But I loved it as a kid. You know, just seeing like I don't remember. I think Optimus Prime was a gorilla or something.
yeah, yeah. He was like a silverback, or
Yeah, was he a silverback? Yeah, so that was a little bit different to see them in just like that kind of way. But let's see, it was oh yeah, so Optimus Prime, Megatron. Let me see the characters here. I think yeah, so the gorilla was Optimus Prime. Um, Cheetah was Cheetor. Let's see, who is I just really not have him on here. Come on now, where's Megatron? I don't know. It doesn't have a but yeah. So it was a little bit different. The show was a little bit different,
yeah,
man. But I was a fan, right? Like I was like, this is pretty cool. And that was kind of my first experience to it. And then eventually, I found out later it was just like, no, like fucking Optimus Prime was a truck, like a huge like 18-wheeler,
yeah,
and you know. And then I eventually started going back in there. But I know you were always like a huge fan
yeah.
of the
I
show. And
watched the original '80s version when I was growing up as a kid.
was that another show that was like a was it a um it was like there were action figures that turned into a show, right? Or was it a show then action figures?
I know that it came from Japan, so I'm not entirely sure, but I think in the United States, they made the cartoon to make the toys. That's how that's how they generated all the revenue.
Okay, let's see. It says what came first, Transformer toys. So they were a toy line in a cartoon series from 1984 produced by Hasbro and became one of the best-selling toys of all time. So Transformers led to an animated movie in 1986, 18 something. What the hell am I talking about? 1986, which I know, I watched. There's a show on ABC, and I can't remember what it was, but they talked about that movie, right?
Yeah,
That Transformer movie. Again, spoilers if you guys haven't seen it. It's been 1986, where Optimus Prime dies,
yeah.
right? And then like, I think they like revive him or something like that, right?
Not in the movie.
Oh, not in the movie. He just dies.
Yeah,
Holy
this year's
shit!
35th anniversary of it. Like they have a special like 35th anniversary edition coming out and everything.
Is it the 35th? Damn, that's fucking awesome. That'd be something that you'd have to pick up, man, or rewatch or something like that.
I have I bought it on Amazon Prime, like so I can watch on Prime Video,
Hmm.
like last year or whatever. So
Does it hold up?
I mean, I enjoy it. I grew up with it, so I'd definitely watch it over and over again.
Okay. It's one of those ones where it's like you get like that's a good movie to watch over and over with, over and over again. I'm trying to think if there's any movies that the only movie that comes to my mind that I watch like continuously, man, over and over is Goodfellas.
Oh yeah,
I don't know why. For me, that's like my Godfather, even though like Godfather is like a different film, but like Goodfellas is that film, right? So
well, I think we we blasted through this time. This is even without Justin here, we kept going for a while.
yeah, man, we got a lot of time in here, so I'm probably a good time to wrap it up. I know
Yeah,
I gotta go take care of some things, but as always, Derek, man, it's a pleasure to do this with you, man. It's a lot of fun. Want to thank all the listeners, for the people that are listening. Thank you for listening and chiming in. And if you're new, hopefully you continue to listen with us. And of course, I always have to say something, but like Bigfoot is real. So I'm just kidding. The search is still on, man. So don't forget about that.
hopefully we'll find him one day.
And when we do, I want that reward or somebody get the reward,
Yeah,
So
yeah. I just want to thank everyone that listens. Anyone that's new, check out our other episodes before this, the previous 4 episodes, and definitely keep coming back. We're going to keep trying for every week. And if all three of us can't make it, at least two of us will be here every week to talk. But hopefully Justin will be back next week. And yeah, we'll talk to you guys later and have a good weekend.